How many of those were accounts that were reset up after being shadow banned? You know? Like, Price,
that's a skill, bro. That's so cool.
There's trouble in Verdansk, you know, they're targeting their own. No, I'm just really into it. Give me a sec, guys.
All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your co-host, FaZe Swagg, here my co-host, Matt. And ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you we have an absolute legend in the building, all right?
Where is he?
Stay frosty. Stay frosty.
Stay frosty.
My
you
man.
make me sound like, what's her name? Oh my God, what's the nanny of the kids in that famous old movie?
Which one?
You know, a spoonful of sugar, helps the medicine go down. Mary Poppins, mate. Stay frosty.
My man Jeff, the former ghost from Call of Duty, the iconic.
A ghost.
Man.
One of ghosts.
One of ghosts.
One of three ghosts.
Wow.
That's awesome, man. Appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
As a huge Call of Duty fan, us being Call of Duty, this is so cool.
Your players, you're in those sweaty lobbies, right?
Yeah.
Mate, I was in there, you know, I started out as a bot, and then after a couple of years of playing it, I got into the sweaty lobbies, and then I've not looked back since haven't played it for like 3 years or something.
3 years?
Wow. And you know what? It's best 3 years of my life. It's been so peaceful. The mental clarity has been immense.
So how many Call of Duties have you played? Like a lot of them? Or
I mean, yeah, so when I first started, obviously I was in Modern Warfare 2019, and then Warzone 1, and then COD Mobile. So I provided voice for Ghost on those games. And I started playing it religiously on stream, you know, playing 14-hour streams a day, 7 days a week. It was intense. You start getting PTSD. I've spoken to a bunch of military buddies of mine and vets that I know who play the game. And they're like, oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of nasty shit that happens when you go out on deployment. But playing COD for 14 hours a day, hearing that in your head, it's relentless. There's no break.
For sure.
It does start to affect you. So, yeah, that's why I say, you know, give yourself a break. Take a day off. That's what I'm saying, gamers.
100%. What would you say? Do you have a favorite Call of Duty that you played?
Modern Warfare 2, the original.
Okay.
Ooh. So Craig Fairbrass was the original voice of Ghost, you know, and like when I got the role, I reached out to him immediately and I was like, hey man, I just want to give you your props and, you know, show some respect. He was like, oh yeah, look after yourself, Activision are a bunch of you know, be careful. Didn't I find that out? But, you know, he was a good guy. And so I played the original games on stream and I loved them all. You know, they were all fantastic, the first 3 games. But number 2 for me, I mean, you know, for obvious reasons.
I get it. His is Black Ops 2 and then mine is Modern Warfare 3.
Okay, nice. You're a Black Ops guy, yeah?
I am. I lean more towards Black Ops 2. I was thinking recently, it might be connected to the era that I played it in. Okay. I think a lot of times the nostalgia factor might not be the game
100%.
itself, it might be the time that you played it.
Exactly. You just had that breakup with that girl in first grade. You were playing through the pain, through the tears, trying to get that KD ratio up, and it stuck with you. I feel you. Yeah. And also sometimes it's the game that people. I'm an ambassador for a charity called Gold Star Gamers, which basically connects children of military veterans who either died on deployment or have died since because of mental health issues, you know, maybe taking their own life or something. And it connects the kids with other members of their parents' squad to play games and stuff.
Cool.
Plus, like, major sports stars, all kinds of people.
That's so cool.
Me, they've got me in there for some reason. But you know what I mean? It's like, these kids, the way they talk about like gaming and how it connects them to their parents when they're away on deployment in another country, just things like that, you realize how impactful COD can be to such a large portion of the community
100%.
for so many different reasons. Do you know what I mean? Playing with your boys, you know, or like old memories or whatever, or, you know, something a bit more heart-wrenching, like I lost my dad and, you know, I get to play with one of his squadron buddies, you know, while he's in Afghanistan. That's amazing.
Wow.
It's true. I think that's the power of gaming as well. There's so many memories and just great things connected to
100%,
it.
man, 100%, you know, and not just COD related, because I am a gamer first and foremost. That's why I got into the voice acting.
What was your first game?
First ever video game, I'm talking like those switch on, switch off, no save function, Nintendo flat screen, where half of the stuff that you're playing, basically Donkey Kong barrel toss, you know, you're Mario trying to avoid a bunk, but it was Donkey Kong game, it wasn't Mario. And that joint was literally switch on, switch off. You had a bunch of different levels to get through. Half of the stuff was actually physically on the screen, like made out of foil.
1960s or?
I mean, listen, relax, bro. All right, just because I haven't got a broccoli haircut doesn't mean I'm that old.
Kidding.
But yeah, no. It was like old, man. This is what I'm born in '84, so I started playing that when I was like 6, something like that. So yeah, probably early '90s, really early '90s.
Awesome.
And then obviously progressed to like Sega Master System, you know, things like that. So sort of started to build into more console gaming. Yeah.
And I'm curious, bro. I was like doing my homework on you a bit, and obviously you have history in like stand-up comedy and acting.
Correct.
How did all that lead to voicing ghosts? Like how did all that get to there?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So my passion from childhood was acting. I always wanted to be an actor. And then I ended up through a convoluted series of, university projects, things like that, going into commercial radio. That led to TV hosting. Actually, first was DJing. So I DJed and produced and made some remixes for Ministry of Sound.
So you've done every single career.
Entertainment. I've done a lot in entertainment. Yeah.
And this is back in the UK, or did you move over to...
This was in the UK,
UK, yeah.
So I did DJing for a few years, and then I technically died at a music festival for about 37 seconds.
Wait, what?
My heart stopped. It was.
You can just casually.
Yeah, I mean,
give me like some more.
Listen, I don't want to promote, but listen, drugs are not always good. Sometimes you should cut down on them.
Yeah.
And at that period of my life, I didn't do that.
Okay.
So drinking drugs led to me sort of having a bit of an awakening. And at that same festival, this was Bestival. There was a big music festival on the Isle of Wight. And I was DJing in the late night dance tents there. I met a producer the day after my heart stopped. I was meant to go to the hospital and I didn't. I went and slept in the artist's tents for like 15 hours.
You definitely should have went to the hospital.
Nah, because what were they going to do? They're going to go, stop doing drugs, you fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't do that. And then I woke up and I went and did my set that night and I met a producer, a TV producer, and I felt like it was fate. She was like, "You're hilarious. You should be on TV." And I was like, "Well, you're a TV producer. Give me a screen test." And she did 2 weeks later for a BBC show. And then I went from that lifestyle to being BBC presenter for youth programming as well.
That's
so I was
crazy.
Talking to teenagers about their problems on a Saturday afternoon show. So I gave up the DJing, which was probably good for me. I don't think I'd still be here if I'd continued.
How good were you a DJ on a scale of 1 to 10?
I was very competent at mixing. I could do some pretty technically advanced stuff, but I was using Technics or CDJs, not Serato. That wasn't even around until a bit later in the profession.
Yep.
But I'm not a scratch DJ. I'm not at the Red Bull Scratch championships or anything like that. I was solid, and I was a great selector as well. My love for music grew in all different genres from that. Anyway, so that led to TV hosting, and after a few years of that, I realized this is not what I want to do. I don't want to be a TV host. I want to be an actor. And now everyone in England knows me as a TV host because BBC is a pretty big channel. It's like the biggest channel there. So people were like, "I know you off a Saturday morning show, don't I?" And I was like, yeah. And so they wouldn't give me acting auditions. So I started stand-up comedy to get away from the TV hosting, quit my job in TV, started doing stand-up, much to the chagrin of the rest of the comedy community, who were all doing stand-up to get on TV. And then that led me to America, led me into the voice acting world. That was through the acting stuff. So.
And you moved straight from the UK to LA?
No, I was in New York. So I spent
okay.
4.5 years. So there's a very famous venue out here called the Comedy Cellar, which now they got venues in Vegas and in New York. They got like 6 rooms in New York now. And it's like an institution. That's where all your Dave Chappelle's down there on a Tuesday night trying out his new stuff.
Wow, that's awesome.
So that was my first club in America. They helped bring me to America. They sponsored my visa, got me out here.
That's awesome.
So I spent the first 5 years in New York. And then I came to LA because my manager was like, "Listen, let's go get you some TV shows and movies and stuff like that and video games." And it's been all right so far. I'm pretty happy.
That's cool. And for the difference between the UK and coming to America and New York, what was the biggest shock factors, the difference-wise? You're like, "Oh, wow, was the food? Was it the
culture shock?"
I mean, because I come to America a bunch of times. I was traveling from a young age. I was saving up money to come out, and girls that I met on Alamac chat or some old school shit. Only what was it? What was that old school? MySpace.
Yes.
Wow. Remember that shit? And LiveJournal. Does anyone remember LiveJournal? Oh my God, now I am showing my age. So I used to meet girls in America who I'd fall in love with. I was a teenager. "Oh my God, I love you." My online girlfriend. And I'd fly out to wherever, like LA or Vancouver or New York to come and meet these girls. And my parents were like, "Yeah, sure, you'll be all right. You'll be safe."
And they would let you just go?
Yeah, I mean, I was a pretty independent young man, as an adventurer. So I wasn't shocked by the culture stuff, but I will tell you the 2 things that changed for me here is, one, in England there was a glass ceiling over everything I did in entertainment. I'm not joking when I say if you're a TV presenter, people go, "Well, that's what you are. You can't do acting. You can't do this." You get recognized for one thing on our little island. You know?
They put you in a box, kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas in America, you can host a TV show, write the book, have the hit sitcom, go and tour stand up to stadiums, and have a cooking show if that's what you want to do. Do you know? You can do everything. They want stars in America. So I gravitated towards that a little bit because I consider myself a Renaissance man. You know, a multitude, of or a plethora of different interests in entertainment. So that was the first thing that I loved about America. And the second thing as well is that I got a racial awakening in America that I didn't have in England. I always thought I was an ally of, equality, racial equality. And then I came to America and realized just how the racial segregation here is like at an unbelievable level. England, I always thought was very much about class differentiation.
Yeah, like wealth-wise and stuff like that. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, like if you're poor, we're all poor. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, whatever. We're all poor, And if you're rich, you're rich, and that's where our division was.
Yeah.
I thought. And then I came to America and became grossly aware of the racial division here and the racial tension in the country. Dated a lot more women of color wanted to date me in America versus England. That was a thing. I don't know, black girls didn't for me in England, but I came to America and they're like, hey, I like that accent. That's all right. You got a little swagger for a white boy. We'll give you a chance. And through those relationships, not only did I learn more about the race relations within this country, racism in England that I was completely oblivious to. Because
Not made you aware of it, yeah.
You know what it is? It's like you can be complicit in kind of white supremacist concepts without thinking you're being racist. You know what I mean? I never was racist. I didn't say the N-word. I wasn't treating friends differently because of their skin color. But there was a bunch of shit I wasn't even aware of that I benefited from by being white, for sure, So coming to America educated me in that way, in a way that I wouldn't have learned, I don't think, anywhere else in the world. And that's benefited me both in being here, being an ally, but also my friendships back in the UK, even with some of my friends who are of color. I could hit them up and go, hey, I've learned a lot over the last few years. I've been reading a lot of books, you know what I mean? I've got through race matters. Let me have a chat with you about some things and ask you some questions. And they were, kind enough to give me that education rather than being frustrated by it and say, actually, there was a lot of racism we experienced. What am I going to tell all my white buddies, though? You didn't get it. No one follows you around a CVS. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that was the two things that I think I've taken from this country more than anything.
Wow.
That was great.
That was great. You're so well spoken, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. You might be the smartest person.
I'm a professional orator. I hope so. Can you imagine if I just turned up and was like, although maybe I'd get further in my career if I did that. If I was like Lefty Gunplay, bless him, man, he's thriving, and I respect what he's doing, but he's not the most eloquent on it. So maybe I'd get a bit further if I wasn't. I can dial it down a bit if you want. Do you know what I mean?
No, please. This is cool. I feel like I'm in a movie.
Nah, this is awesome, man.
So obviously we're huge Call of Duty fans, and I just want to really.
What drew you to Call of Duty?
Since I was a kid, I got introduced to it. My big brother showed it to me.
Big brother, there you go. So
Big
that was
Red,
the entry
Call
point.
of Duty Big Red,
bonding with your brother.
GameCube. Yeah,
love that.
So I wanted to ask you.
What about you, Swagg?
Yeah,
for me, it was friendships in high school. So I never had a console or anything like that. And they would all play Call of Duty. And I wanted to hang out with them more outside of school. Like I said, be like, yo, let's kick it, guys. Let's have some fun. They'd be like, nah, we're about to go home. And
Were you popular at high school?
I mean, I wouldn't say I was popular. I was just a kid who got along with everybody.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because this is an interesting thing about the world of streaming, right? Now we got all these people that are elevated, yourself included, right? They're elevated through your presence online, your ability in video games, and that's afforded you a massive audience and then fame, whatever that fucking means, But a lot of those people that are being elevated weren't necessarily popular at high school. They weren't necessarily the popular kids, and that's an interesting dichotomy to see,
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, gamers were never really cool growing up.
Yeah, that's
we were nerds,
why,
right? We were called nerds. Yeah, you were a fucking gamer. What, are you going to go and hang out with the Dungeons and Dragons crew? Yes, I am. And what of it, sir? And now you're racking your money and you're hanging out with, Kai Cenat's hanging out with the biggest, celebrities in the world. They're all begging to get onto one of his shows. You know what I mean? That's crazy. That's a crazy turnaround. Interesting how the ebbs and flows of entertainment. And
it's crazy. It happened in literally less than 10 years. Like how fast it just completely changed from streaming and gaming being not so cool to all of a sudden it's the meta now.
Justin TV was certainly not cool, but Twitch, that's where the money's at now.
Yeah,
so
Just TV. Crazy, that was early 2000s.
Yeah.
Were you streaming on there at all?
Fuck no. I got into streaming when I came to America. Really.
Really?
Yeah, so it was about 10 years ago is when I started doing some streaming. And like I say, I haven't done it with any regularity or anything, but like with any kind of career-minded attitude for at least 3 years now.
So it was just like more so for fun?
I mean, for a couple of years, it was business, for sure. Yeah, after the release of Call of Duty especially. You know, I got afforded a massive audience. I had a period of, a great period of rise, and then a little period of fall, you know, as it goes with a lot of people. But I think it's you have to be really dedicated to it as your primary career choice if you want to thrive and succeed in it, because it takes up so much time. You know that. For
sure. I mean, you have to be on stream. First of all, if you're a streamer, like, you know what I'm saying, you're on there 8 hours a day.
And that's not the work. The work is the 4 hours sitting at emails, talking to sponsors. It's taking photos. It's getting the merch done. It's doing this. It's doing business meetings to try and grow that esports org you're trying to put together, or that competition, or it's constant.
100%. There's never really a day off. It's all 24/7. Just your Saturday and Sundays, you're still working. You know what I mean?
I realized that, like, I put the power of when I shit, literally, or when I ate into complete strangers' hands. You know what I mean? You know when you're playing and you're literally like, boys, I just got to hit the toilet, and you got to hit. You can't even like just go, hey, I'll be back in a minute. You got to put something on to keep them entertained.
100%.
Whilst you go and take a shit, which you're like powering through to get back before that next lobby fires up.
But it's also crazy that you think about it. Like, when you leave your setup, you lose viewers. So it's also that kind of like where you think about like, yo, like, I remember when I was streaming on YouTube specifically when I was signed with them.
Right.
YouTube and Twitch are so different with streaming. Twitch, if you leave, a lot of your viewers still stay. Like, they don't really go anywhere.
Because there's more interactivity within the
100%,
chat.
and it's more of a community. With YouTube streaming specifically, I would realize that I'm streaming on YouTube, and when I would leave my setup, I would lose like 2,000 viewers because people who are...
Well, like, they go and find another Call of Duty player to keep them entertained for that 1 minute.
Well, YouTube also, the way it's set up, is there's videos all underneath your stream.
Right.
So they easily just go, oh, he's gone? We'll watch this quick video.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And sometimes they don't come back because now they completely forgot because they're watching the video. So it's definitely way different. They're two different types of streaming.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's, you know, I wish there was more kind of mental health provisions within the world of streaming, because it is dangerous for a lot of people.
For sure.
I think it fucks with your head, and it can fuck with your physical form as well. Do you know what I mean?
That's one of the main things we talk about on the pod is like what streamers and content creators go through that no one really knows.
Right.
And a lot of the creators are always saying like the mental battles they go through when their views are low or their viewership is low, right? Like no one really talks about
no one like me anymore. What am I doing wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And then you get caught up on that shit, and then it only gets worse, you know.
For sure.
I've experienced that, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had all those highs and lows, and definitely had my own mental health battles, you know. I had clinical depression for like almost 30 years. And then, thank God, therapy and psilocybin, a few ego deaths really helped, you know, to kind of get that completely out of my system, you know, which I thought it would be a part of my life for my entire life. You know, most people are not lucky enough to get free of depression, you know what I mean? It's something they always suffer from. And then there were things that happened during my streaming career that absolutely put me in a pit of despair, you know, made me think, oh, this is the end of the world. Because also when you're streaming every day, 7 days a week, for anywhere between 8 to 14 hours a day, those long ones, those 24-hour streams, nuts, crazy. Brutal. But just 8 hours is the general. If you do 8 hours, that's a solid day's work, do you know what I mean, on the stream. When you do that 7 days a week, your entire world becomes about the streaming microcosm. I don't know what the correct term would be, but you know, the biome of streaming. So you're getting all the news you digest on social media. It's all about what other streamers are. Who's Amaranth? What's her drama this month? What's happened with that cheater? Who's been exposed this week for doing that? Blah 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 blah. It's like a multitude of different things. You can get caught up on that shit, and you forget that 99.9% of the world doesn't give a fuck about streaming or the world of streaming or anything related to streaming. And there's a whole world out there, and you're going to be all right, and it's cool. And if you lost 100 viewers, it's all right. You're fine. They might come back or they won't. And then that's okay. When you're on your deathbed, you're not being going, fuck, I'm so glad my KD ratio was that. You're going to be going like, oh, I miss those people that I love. I miss those moments. God, remember that fucking holiday with those friends where we were all laughing? That was so good. Remember that beautiful woman in my life that fulfilled me. Remember that dog and going on that hike that I spent all those years being best friend to.
100%.
That's what you'll think about, not like how many streaming hours did I rack up, you know, did I get the right badge on the partnership program or whatever. So it's important to remember that,
100%.
I agree. Yeah, a lot of stuff that I always do is when I'm like on my phone, like caring a lot about my views. It sounds funny, but I just lock my phone and look up, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm a human. Like I'm alive. Like,
right?
You get so consumed by something on your hand, like your phone. And sometimes you just got to put it down and really go for a walk, walk your dogs, and do stuff like that. I
wonder if you guys have experienced this with COD specifically, because when I started playing it, it was so much fun because I was shit. I was a bot. I was literally never played a COD game.
Yep.
Started on Warzone 1, got killed instantly. What the fuck? I don't even know. There's so many guns. There's so many things to pick up. Now, obviously, within a few months, I know the learning curve can be a bit difficult at first, pretty steep. But once I picked it up, and also my hand-eye coordination is excellent. I'm a polymath. I'm pretty fast at picking stuff up. So within a short period of time, I was like, boom, sweaty lobbies. I'm like, giving great comms. I'm like running squads. I'm
super tryhard.
I started playing with Stone Mountain and Stoddy and Tomographic, who might not be like pro players, but they're in those lobbies. They're in those lobbies.
They're good players.
It's top 1%, top 0% actually. 100%. Technically, we're in the top 0%. So I got into that, place, and it stopped being fun. It started being, we have to get that fucking dub. We have to get that. Like, how many dubs have I gotten today? If I don't get back-to-backs, like, no one's going to watch me. And it was suddenly like, I get it. For a lot of my viewers, I think I lost a lot of viewers at a point in my career streaming because I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And they could feel that, man. They could feel that
100%.
Through the screen. They'd rather I was shit but having a laugh the whole time, which was what was unique about me, that I could be a comedian on stream. I could do all these different voices. I had all the little SFX boxes, the Go XLR,
100%.
Playing around with that. I had little characters that would slide in and I'd do like the mouth and the eyes of them, like all this dumb shit. It was, and when I was doing that, people loved it. As soon as I became really deadly serious about I have to be really great at this game and excel in it, I think it stopped being fun for everyone, man, even the viewers.
Sure.
So you feel like, do you think skill-based matchmaking doesn't have a place in a game like Call of Duty?
I think if you have a decent personality outside of, if you're just a pro player who that's your thing, you're like slightly on the spectrum, you're a fucking killer at the game, you don't necessarily engage with people that great, so through a screen is the safest way to do that. And I got a bunch of friends who are like that and they're excellent at what they do. You can enjoy the mathematical nature of a video game over and over and over and over and excel and continue moving up the rankings. If you got personality, you guys clearly both have, do you know what I mean? You have fun. Then the game should really be secondary to your personality.
100%.
Because that's what people tune in for, I think. I might be wrong.
I agree.
I'm curious what you think about it, because you started off doing content just more fun. Like, it was like educational in a way because you'd give classes and stuff, but it wasn't as sweaty as it transitioned to, when you actually became like pro and competing.
Are we having a sweat fest intervention right now? Is that what's happening?
I think that's what we're doing right
Swagg,
now.
we need to get you back to the roots of it, man.
You gotta have fun again.
I know, and I feel like I said, I've been pretty sweaty my whole life as far as like going for nukes and stuff like that. But it definitely got to a point where, in the older Call of Duties, it was super fun. And in the recent years, with skill-based matchmaking within the game itself, it just feels like it's so, I don't know, like I don't enjoy it as much playing for pubs without a rank system.
Right.
So that's right now, the only thing I can play in Call of Duty is rank mode. Because it's like I'm rewarded for actually playing tryhards and going hard.
Understood.
And if I'm playing a game where there's no rank mode, but it's just sweaty all the time, it's not rewarding at all. It's just like I'm not.
I used to play BR, and like for you guys, if you just jump on one of those lobbies, immediately you're also gonna have stream snipers. You're gonna have people who are watching you trying to, and it just messes with your game. You can't enjoy those early days of Verdansk, man. I heard they're bringing it back. Is that right?
April 3rd. April 3rd.
Damn. When will they write some new fucking shit? Just recycling it, selling the same old skins every game as well. Literally the same skins. Cheap bastards.
Let's talk about that. I want to get into Call of Duty because, like I said, you're a legend in the game. And obviously, from what it sounds like, it ended not how you would have probably wanted. But before we get there, I want to talk about the glory days first, right? Before we go down the bad path. How is that process of Call of Duty reaching out to you saying, hey, do you want to voice Ghost? And kind of like, can you take us through what it is to be a voice actor for Call of Duty?
Sure. Well, I worked for Infinity Ward, not Activision. And I've only got good things to say about the people at Infinity Ward. I love them. They actually used to own the game. they had Call of Duty, and then Activision swiped it off them in some backhand deals at the very beginning.
And
of the
what?
inception.
Yeah, what year was that? Was that like?
We're talking at the very
inception.
Inception. So basically, it was like them and Infinity Ward. Infinity Ward brought them the game and said, "Well, yeah, we'll publish it, but then we need this, blah blah blah." And then the development overran. So Activision was like, "Well, we're not going to give you any more money to do it." It was a whole thing, and basically, when you can give us the title, or you can try and hold on to it, and we'll tie you up in legal battles for the rest of your life, and you'll never get the game released anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, so they had it, and then they brought them back in after some top management change, some execs, C-level execs changed hands or whatever. But yeah, scumbaggery from the start. I love Infinity Ward. There's some great artists who are working there, people who really care about the artistry of the game. So I did an audition. I had no idea what it was for, but I kind of guessed, when you're sort of saying, UAV overhead or on my 6, you kind of start to go, oh, this is Molotov out. I mean, who else is Molotov out?
No, that's iconic.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I think this is maybe for Call of Duty, but I did the audition. They said what they wanted, they wanted this British, slightly gruff character, and I was like, well, I can do military. I got a lot of military buddies, and even more now. I'm like heavily involved with the US vets now.
Yep.
In fact, I was there in Vegas 2 days ago at their stand down event, volunteering all day for 12 hours, getting vets through housing opportunities and employment.
Wow.
And legal. Yeah, it was great. We did 630 vets over the course of the day. It was amazing.
Wow.
Anyway, so I was like, well, I know how to do military guy, tough voice, blah, blah, blah. But it was really channeling, in every character I do, I want to channel an aspect of me. So Ghost, for me, in that audition was, where am I at my most focused and also my most potentially violent? And it's normally when I'm worked up, when I'm angry, or when I'm about to have a fight or something. So when I'm about to fight, when I'm in that moment, I get more gruff, I get more angry, right? My voice is more, it's here, it sits there, right? That's me, but it's me when I'm worked up, when I'm angry, or when I need something to be done. Like, do me a favor and get the fuck out of the room, right? So I just had to channel that.
You got it.
Yeah, but I had to channel that voice. But then I needed that voice when he's not angry or shouting or whatever as well. Wow. So I was like, well, let me just take that gruffness, that kind of directness, that slight dip in my range, and then bring that to my normal speaking voice as well. So now it's Ghost, like Price.
That's a skill, bro. That's so cool.
There's trouble in Verdansk, they're targeting their own. So it sounds, it gets like, semi-fighters I can trust, Ghost Stouts. So it's like, it's still that voice, still me, but it's a particular part of me the whole time.
So cool.
So that's where that voice came from. And then I know in the previous 2 games, they asked the actor to sort of emulate that a little bit, because it's not his normal voice.
And
then
it's that low aura,
He's like, I'm the OG.
He sound him.
Of that voice, man. Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts about. I got a lot of thoughts about that whole thing and the handover of the role and how it was dealt with and what they did. I think they should have given Sam Rukin an opportunity to do a completely new voice. I think they should have gone, do your Ghost.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They went, people like this new Ghost. Yeah. Can you emulate that voice? They would have sent a voice sample and gone, do a version of this, which I think was stupid. They should have just let him have a chance. He's a great actor. They should have given him a chance to do his own voice. And as subsequently I've heard a lot of the cutscenes and things, people send me videos and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like he's doing his real voice, and that sucks.
Yeah, it sounds forced, you would say.
A little bit, which sucks because he's a good actor, like I say. So, and then also I feel like you should reach out to the previous actor. He never did that with me. I did that with Craig Fairbrass. There was a bunch of things that pissed me off about that handover. Not least of all why it happened, which we'll get to later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I know you want the gossip and the drama. It's the clicks, baby, isn't it? That's the clickbait. So I did that voice, handed it in, thought nothing of it. I was like, I have to treat every job. When I do an audition, I'll do maybe 2 or 3 auditions a day at the moment for different projects.
Oh, wow, nice.
Like still to this day, you do 2 to 3 auditions?
Yeah. I got since I was driving here, I got 2 more auditions that have to be done for Monday. So I got 4 to do over the weekend. So I got 4 through. They come pretty fluidly now.
That's cool.
Fortunately, I'm very grateful. Not all voice actors are fortunate enough to have that situation, especially right now because we're still on strike against AI protections, for AI protections. So I'm very, very grateful. The universe has been good to me, which is why I'm trying to give back as much as I can. You have to keep it balanced. Anyway, sent it in, thought nothing of it. And then I got a phone call, hey, they want to talk to you about the project. You have to go to this studio, this mocap studio. But they wouldn't even tell me still what it was for or anything like that. But I was
they still didn't tell you it was for Call of Duty?
But I was like, well, I know. So I got there, I went in, I met the guys from Infinity Ward. They were like, hey, what's going on? We're Infinity Ward, we're going to be working on this game with you. Blah, blah. I don't know if you know, but it's for Call of Duty, and the character is Ghost. I was like, oh my God, really? I was like, I knew, I'm fucking with you. And they're like, no, it's obvious. And then we just got cracking. You know, we had some mocap studio stuff. We had lots of more in booth. I didn't do a huge amount of mocap stuff. Got to work with Barry Sloan, you know, who does Price on some actual in studio stuff. It was great. It's a lot of fun. So working with them was an absolute pleasure. Especially shout out to the artist who does all of the, you know, all the skins you see.
Yep.
Except the ridiculously, I mean, now it's like fucking Fortnite, but when it started, you know, very much, at least within the Modern Warfare franchise, when it first launched, all of those outfits are made and then they 3D scan them.
Oh, wow.
So they're real.
Cool.
Like they made the real outfit and then scanned it and then put that into the game.
That's dope.
And there's an artist called Joel Emsley who does all of that stuff over at Infinity Ward, and he made the original Ghost mask. So when I went and had a little walk around the studio, and they, you know, I think they had the first playthrough for a bunch of people. In fact, I met people like Tomographic and Stone, didn't know who the fuck they were. I was just like walking around. They didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
And then we ended up playing together, you know, 6 months later or whatever,
cool.
a year later when the game came out. But he showed me how to make the Ghost mask. He gave me the rubber component for the actual thing. So I've got the only other copy that is actually the Ghost mask. Wow. And then I did a stream for like 8 hours where I stitched it all together, I painted it all, I aged it, I did all the shit that he taught me how to do. I went out and bought horsehair twine and stuff like that.
Crazy.
Yeah, and now I've got, you know, the best Ghost mask that exists.
Hell yeah.
And I do that for the cameos and stuff. I put all the whole outfit. I've got like proper plate carrier now.
I love it.
Yeah. But I got into it. So I've started all the stuff that I played in the game. It's always important for me as an actor to embody the character.
100%.
Not all actors do that, and respect to them. Especially if you're working on like 4 or 5 different projects, you can't spend all that time becoming one character. It's a lot of work. But for me, I was like, right, who's a real life Ghost? Well, Christian Craighead, you know, the guy Send Me, the guy who's a skin in the game, in the original skin in the game, with the guy with the, you know, the bandana over his face and the blonde hair, and he has You can look it up. He's Christian Craighead. He was an SAS Spec Ops guy who was in Nairobi on whatever the Royal Marines were sending him out there for, and a terrorist cell took over some hotel and held 45 people hostage, started killing them and throwing them out of windows, and he ignored his commanding officer's orders, went down there on his own, forgot his helmet. He was in such a rush to get down there. Literally just took his vest, his assault rifle, and a bunch of other shit. Went down there, pulled up, talked to the local police, and went, "Has anyone gone in yet?" And they were like, he heard gunshots, and they were like, "No, that's none of our guys. That's terrorists." And he went, "They're killing people in there. Someone needs to go in."
Oh my God.
So he went, "Fuck it." Talked to them about the plan, lay out the building. Went in on his own, took out the entire terrorist cell on his own, and saved 45 people's lives.
Damn.
That's a real
Anyway,
card.
he's now revealed his face. He was like, his face was hidden for a long, long time
Yep.
because he was still in active duty. Then he left after some fallout with his higher ups about things like that. And now he's writing books. He's going to do movies, I'm sure. Wow. So I connected with him, and I was like, "Listen, I'm play pretending your character, basically, mate, and I want to know what it's like to be really you." So we spoke for hours. You know, we like had long conversations, and he imparted stuff that I won't repeat now, but stuff like that was important to me, you know, to understand it. I've now done CQB, advanced CQB courses with, you know, Kawa, 2 Alpha training, who's like, he trains special forces, you know, he's trained Spec Ops guys as well, still involved as consultant with the army as well. So it's important for me to know how to handle these firearms properly, to have that CQB training, to have that tactical training to a high level. I hope I'll never have to use it in any way, shape, or form. Why would I? I'm a civilian, you know?
Yeah.
But hey, fuck it. If
if
the neo-Nazis ever do try taking over, I'm ready.
That's crazy.
You need a few fucking progressive liberals who know how to handle a firearm as well. Do you know what I mean?
And so for the voice lines, did you for the whole game in general, do you go in at one day and just record them all at once?
No, it was spread out over different recording sessions. Like I say, some in studio, in the mocap studio, some just in the booth. I even recorded during COVID, some in my home booth because, you know, we weren't able to go in.
Yep.
So I just patch in through an ISDN line and do it from home, you know. So I sort of did it in all the different ways you possibly can. It's great fun, man.
As playing Ghost, did you feel the impact of how massive Warzone was as far as like getting recognized or just in general? Because that game was, you know what I mean? You were on the trailer.
150 million players, bro, at one point. I'm going to take one of these rings off because I realize I'm clicking every 2 seconds.
No, you're good.
And I don't want your sound guys like, what the fuck is that sound? There you go. It's gone now. Yeah, I didn't know how big it was going to be. I think no one did. No one did.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's another Call of Duty game, huge franchise, cool. It's going to be good on my CV, great, can't wait. It'll be a fun role to be into. There might be some fans from it. But then because of lockdown and COVID, it was the game.
The game.
It was the game, man. And 150 million players, I'm sure they bumped those numbers. How many of those were accounts that were reset up after being shadow banned? You know? But still, you know, like even if it's like 100 million players around the world, that's huge. And I was very grateful what came from that, you know. But I also showed that gratitude, I think. Unlike most actors in video games limit how much interaction they have with their fan base.
Yep.
For me, it was like, I'm going to play it. I organize esports tournaments. We did giveaways. All my sponsors did major giveaways.
That's
every
awesome.
single, every 2 weeks we were giving away headsets and PCs and keyboards and mice and controllers and merch and all sorts of shit. Raised loads of money, you know, raised like, on one stream, I think me, Stone, and I had oh my God, I've forgotten all their streamer names. That's
Z-Laner?
so funny. Z-Laner,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
That's so funny that you knew, though. You saw it. We raised like 60K for on one stream for Equal Justice Initiative. You know, me and Thin raised like fucking 80K on one stream for a bunch of. We raised a lot of money for charity. So I got to be a part of the community, and I think people love that, tuning in and going, oh my God, he's like, this is Ghost, but he's like, he cares about 100%. This game and us and playing it and being part of the community and like I say, that biome of the world, you know. But ultimately, that was what ended up severing me not being brought back to be Ghost again. It wasn't the drama that came afterwards. That I can explain what that is, but it was Activision emailed my agents and were like, Jeff's being too involved. Their exact words. He's too synonymous with the character of Ghost. Basically, Activision is a big company that cares about billions and billions of dollars every year and shareholders and making those people happy, which is why you got all these in-game purchases rather than just a great game that fucking works upon release, which it's never done. And they got annoyed. They were like, we can't have an actor be Ghost. Ghost is the thing that we want to sell, not Jeff Leach. So you're too involved. So their advice was dial it back, stop being involved, blah 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 blah.
Stop streaming and stop letting
all of it. Stop
Ghost?
Streaming. Stop. I've got the email, so you're fucking uncovered legally. But I've got the email from their head of, you know, I don't know if he's former, but their head of marketing PR, who was basically like, too much, too many things, too involved. I commented on one stream about something to do with Dr. Disrespect, and they hated that. They were like, he can't talk about this. Can't talk about Dr. Disrespect and Call of Duty and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. First of all, I'm not employed by you. Yeah. I'm employed by Infinity Ward. That's who I had a contract with, not you. And also,
so they were two separate things.
You don't own me. Yeah. You don't fucking own me. You're the publisher of the game. Go fuck yourself. You're not. What did you pay me? What do you pay me? Like $7.5 grand or something I got for all my voice work on Ghost? Whoa. After paying tax? Like $7,500 is probably what I earned from that. Wow. I turned that into a six-figure salary.
Yeah, they should have gave you an M for that.
Whatever.
What?
They're too stupid. They're too their own asses.
They should have got $1 million. What?
It's whatever. It is what it is, man. But they, you know, I turned that into earnings. I was grateful. The community looked after me as much as I looked after them. You know, they paid me my $5 a month to watch me. They bought merch. They were part of, you know, everything that I did, the cameos. You know, I'm grateful, and they afforded me a livable salary from that, and that's why I did the streaming, etc. Because I was like, well, you're not paying me enough money. Tell me what to do. Go fuck yourselves.
$7,500, and they're telling you not to stream and not to dial it back.
That's
ridiculous,
up.
right?
That's crazy.
But that's it, because they want. And now, don't get me wrong. A lot of the other actors in the Call of Duty franchise probably got paid a lot more than that.
Yep.
I know Craig did, you know, on the original series, but that was a different period of history.
For sure.
People got paid differently back then for video games, for voiceover even. I know other actors, if you did 2-3 games, there were more opportunities to earn and probably earned more and probably had better contracts coming back from your agent for the return. But I couldn't believe it. I was just like, you do realize I'm elevating your game because I talk about it with love every day. I play it. I support it. I'm raising money for charity. This all looks good for you. Like, what's the issue here?
Yeah.
You're upset because now you're worried that people will go Ghost. Oh, Jeff Leach. They don't want that. They want Ghost. They want to sell Ghost skins. They don't want someone, because then if you leave, or if you imagine I go and work on a different project, or I don't like Activision, which I don't, then then they're worried that if I leave, that damages their brand in some way.
Like that damages Ghost and the
Correct.
image of
it's
Ghost?
Like dilutes. Maybe some of the fans will be like, oh, well, fucking, they got rid of Jeff Leach. Oh, that's bullshit. Blah. And some fans did feel that way, but I wasn't established enough for it to hurt them in any way, which I wasn't looking to do anyway. Just like, give me respect. If you want to tell me not to do that, cool. Pay me a wage.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. That's what I was
Pay me enough
say.
that I can pay my rent.
Yeah.
100%.
Anyway, I'm all right now. Good
Thank God,
investments.
yeah. Thankfully, you're doing better. I had a question about the voice acting process. While you're voice acting, are you watching a video of the scene? Like, let's say it's a campaign scene.
Yeah.
Do you watch everything that's going on, and do you try to match?
Oh, that's
they
cool.
watch it through. It's not like I don't have to match, especially with a character like Ghost, you don't have to match lip flaps.
Oh, that's true.
When I do anime shows, I have to like match the lip flaps. I have to get the timing of.
No way.
Yeah, it's a whole process. For Netflix especially, they're really on top of that. Shout out Netflix Anime. They care, they really work hard on it. Or is the company that I do a lot of work with. But yeah, for Call of Duty now, it's more, they'll take the voice and then they'll match the movement of the mouth to it afterwards, after the fact. But they'll show me like the blocking. So you'll watch an almost finished scene. They built it in Unreal Engine or whatever they're using that year. And I'll watch the playthrough. Some of the stuff I did with like Barry Sloan, for instance, we were recorded and like we have head cams, capturing all of our movements, all our facial features. And then we were also on wide cams in the mocap studio to match our movements. So they go, we want you to crouch behind here, then we want you to pick up your weapon, boom, boom, scan left, right. You have to watch that corner, watch this corner, which now I could do even better because I've done all the CQB courses, which is why I did it, one of the reasons. And then boom, 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 you can like navigate over here, then you're going to climb on top of this thing. Now, obviously, in the mocap studio, that's just a box, whatever. But then they take that and imprint that onto the characters, put the skins over it to match our movements. So it was pretty interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting process to learn. I loved it.
That's so dope.
No, that's sick.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, it seems like a dope experience. And obviously, unfortunately, it ended kind of not how we would have wanted.
Yeah,
it.
man. Yeah, for me as well. Mostly I think because fans will get over it. It's all right. It's a video game. There's going to be another character. The game still exists. But I poured myself into that character. I really, really loved it. I was really dedicated to the community, and it sucked to be told. By the way, I know that public perception of what happened at the end of my time was that I made some comments on a stream, and they were not nice comments. They were rude. I was cussing out a woman, right? And it was presented as like misogynist comments from this actor, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't what was the end of me and Activision working together, or me being part of Call of Duty.
It was that part you talked about where
it was all of that.
So,
it was being too involved. Wow. So they informed my agent. They said, and this is months, I'm talking like 6 months or so before any of that other stuff came to light. 6 months before it was like, hey, for the next game, we're probably going to go in a different direction, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, fair play. I get it. Like, whatever, because they didn't want me to be so involved.
Yeah.
Fine. It's a job, whatever. I got other jobs. I'm happy. Then that all resulted from a streamer who was trolling me. When I was streaming, there was a streamer who was trolling me for a while. I don't even want to say his name because I don't want to even give him any fucking elevation. He doesn't stream anymore. He, in fact, doesn't even stream COD anymore because he got caught cheating. Turns out he was cheating the entire time throughout his entire career. Yeah,
but he was using walls and aimbot?
Oh, yeah. You know who it is probably. Like, I'm sure you've done your research, But anyway, whatever. He doesn't even stream anymore now. He's now like trying to scam people. He's a grifter, a professional criminal. He's trying to... At the time he was grifting people, he was lying on stream saying that all of his earnings, all of his money that was donated would go to helping projects of kids with autism. I did some digging into that after he trolled me for 2 months, attacking my community, attacking me, coming after me all the time publicly. And like this is what I say when it comes to the mental health thing. I shouldn't have given a shit. I should have just ignored him. He's a fucking nobody. But I didn't because it was my world every day. And I'm like, this is hurting me. It's hurting my community. So I said to him, if you keep fucking with me, I'm going to look into your business, man. So do me a favor and back off and just like leave me the fuck alone. And go do your thing. I'm doing my thing. He didn't. So I did. I dug into his business. I found out that he was scamming money. He wasn't. He was claiming to be autistic himself. Turns out he probably wasn't himself anyway. Never diagnosed anything like that. Turned out that parents of kids with autism who had taken their kids to his gaming centers to go and get those free classes were told that they had to pay. And they had to pay for the certificates. He apparently arranged one thing a year, filmed it, and then used that footage as like, look what we're doing. Look at the amazing projects we're doing. It's a whole scam. All the money he was getting paid out from streaming was going into an offshore account in Poland in his father's name.
What?
He wasn't even paying tax on it. Yeah. Professional criminals. So anyway, I exposed all of this in a fucking video, put it on YouTube, went, go fuck yourself. He sent a lawyer he had a lawyer in Cali, some 2-bit fucking lawyer, you know, I'm sure he paid $500 for a nasty cease and desist letter telling me to take down the video. My lawyers are real lawyers, entertainment lawyers. They told his lawyer to go fuck himself and said everything that's in this video is I can corroborate it with publicly available documents on government websites. A lot of it, I showed all his tax returns or lack of tax returns for all his earnings for his companies. He used to open up companies, shut them down, LLCs, and shut them down, open them, shut them down. Jeez. String of these things. So I exposed all of this, and I went, go fuck yourself. So his response to that was he paid a bunch of female streamers, small streamers, or people who wanted to elevate, and he had numbers, you know. So he paid a bunch of those. He paid a bunch of staff members in his little workplace to troll me every day and to record the stream live. So they were literally paid to sit at the computer and go, "Why don't you try killing yourself again?" I'm a suicide survivor. I hate that term. Jesus. I had a failed suicide attempt. It was great. I'm glad I failed. Never look back now. You know, depression's gone, all of that. But they would troll me about that every day. Why don't you try killing yourself again? Did that for 2 months. After 2 months of ignoring it, I made one comment. I went fucking on a tirade, a rant. I was tired. I was pissed off. And I went, you fucking stupid bitch, blah, blah, blah. You're doing it for this guy. He's a scumbag. I bet you're a fucking lonely bitch. You can't get any dick inside. I said a bunch of really awful vitriolic shit.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, you're laughing. And at the time, a lot of people laughed. I would never say that stuff now. I know it's hateful. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed I did it. And I've grown. I've done therapy, I've matured, I'm 41 years of age, you know, back then I should have known better. I was an actor in a job, I shouldn't have done it. But I was sick of being fucking attacked every day. You know, and I will stand by this, as much as all the other nasty things I said about that person, I won't go back on the fact they are in fact a cunt. Because if you troll someone about their suicide attempt every day for 2 months and you're doing that for money, you're an awful human being. Sure. You're a fucking scumbag.
For sure.
So fuck you, you know. But he took that bit of footage. I immediately ended the stream after that moment. I was embarrassed. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Guys, I get off stream. I cut stream. I deleted the last hour of the VOD because I didn't want any of that to be out on the internet. And then I made a video the following morning and uploaded it to YouTube going, hey, I want to apologize to everyone because I went on this rant yesterday. That's not who I am. That's not why I started streaming. That's not why I connect with my community. I'm embarrassed. I'm a grown adult. I shouldn't react like that. But these are the reasons why I've been attacked, blah, 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 and it's embarrassing, but I have to be better than that, so I'm sorry. Put that out, thought nothing of it. A few months went by, and then eventually this video comes out. He basically paid a bunch of bloggers on a website called Matcrackz to run stories. Ghost actor, goes on, misogynist, rant, blah, 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 blah. Cut the video, but clipped it, of course, took all the before and after. Although he was stupid, because he left one bit before, where I say, you can't come into my community talking like that. So it was clear that I was reacting to something they'd been saying in the chat, which was stupid. They should have cut that out as well, because then it would have been really damning. And then ran all these blogs, paid probably, I would say maybe $2,500 to a bunch of bloggers to run stories. So then, when the bloggers were about to release on a Friday morning, this is how you fuck someone's career up, by the way, if you're looking to do it, anyone. You run stories on a Friday morning because then it doesn't give them an opportunity to respond to the press until Monday. So it runs rife for 36, 72 hours.
Jesus.
Put it out on a Friday. They hit up Activision's PR department and said, hey, there's 100 blog sites that are going to be running this story about one of your actors being a misogynist and saying horrendous shit. Do you want to give a comment? Activision should have gone, no, this is dumb. We don't even work with this guy. Bear in mind, we'd stopped working together months prior. In fact, I wasn't even on a contract with them. I wasn't even employed by them. But whatever, we'd separated ways for the project and me, right? Months before. But Activision's PR department decided, yes, we will give a comment. We no longer work with Jeff Leach, actor, and we don't stand by any misogynist comments. The reason they did that, we found out months later, was because they were facing a multitude of federal court cases because of rampant misogyny, alleged rampant misogyny and sexism at the workplace in Activision Blizzard.
I remember that.
And they hadn't told their fucking shareholders about it. Do you remember that?
Wow.
They hadn't even told their shareholders all these court cases were coming their way. So they lied to their shareholders. They knew all this bad press was about to come, and they thought, well, here's a good way to look like we care about women. Let's release this statement. So basically, they sold me out. This multi-billion-dollar company went, fuck this actor. We're not working with him anyway.
You weren't even working with them at the time. That's crazy.
Fuck him. We'll sell him out. What's he going to do? Sue us? We've got 100 lawyers on pay. Do you know what I mean? On payroll.
Yeah.
He can't do that. He's got no money. He's not going to be able to do that. So they just sold me out. And then IGN, etc., all these publications then ran stories because of Activision's comments,
yeah.
And so he had a success in damaging my career for a few years. Anyway, doesn't matter now. I issued cease and desist. I got lawyers too. So I got cease and desist out to everyone. They all took down their stories. There's a couple that still sit there. IGN, why have you not removed it yet? What's wrong with you? You know the information. But, unless I take them to court, they won't. So... yeah, it sucked. It was really awful, and that was at the lowest of the low point. I think that was like the worst. Yeah, that was a pretty bad time.
Wow,
for me. Yeah.
Hearing that story is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it sucked, man. What sucked more is that during that time, that was my best friend was struggling with depression back in the UK. He ended up taking his life, and then 3 weeks later, my dad died from his late-stage alcoholism. So all this was going on in the background. People thought I was just angry on stream one day. I wasn't. I was trying to keep my dad from killing himself, and I was trying to keep my best friend from killing himself. Unfortunately, I failed at both of those things.
Wow.
Well, I have no power over those things. But that was how I was feeling at the time. Like I can't say my friends and. My career is going to get fucking ended because of this scumbag who's a charity scammer. You know what I mean? Like, and some billion-dollar company who just wants to get some good press to protect themselves from some bad press. But I learned some important lessons there. Like if you're ever angry, walk out of a room, emotionally regulate, do therapy. I took psilocybin, had a couple of mushroom trips that made me realize I'm not shit. None of us are. We're all dust floating in an ether of dust. So don't worry. If you're having a bad day today or you feel like the world's ending because some shit's happened to you, it's not. It's not happening to you. It's just the world, and you're in control of creating the things that come back to you. Put more positivity out, more positivity comes in. I got to free myself from depression. So maybe I should thank them all. Thanks, Activision. Thanks to that streamer. You ultimately helped me from wanting to, to succumb to depression.
So what
suicide ideation.
So following that, like what did you do as far as like work and stuff like that? Did you get into something else as far as?
No, I mean I voice act in a multitude of things. I've done a bunch of AAA video games since then, bunch of anime series, TV shows for Netflix. I'm on Netflix right now in Record of Ragnarok. I'm on Hulu in Ishura. I did Valorant. I've done Total War Warhammer 3. I've done Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector. I've done. You got to pull up my IMDb. I'm in Avowed that's just released.
Nice.
I'm in Throne and Liberty that just released at the beginning of the year. I'm doing 3 voices in the Bazaar that's just gone live. Raynad. I don't know if you know who Raynad and Tempo Storm are, but they just released their first video game. So yeah, and then I've got projects this year that are the biggest things I've ever done, but I can't talk about.
You can't talk. You can't.
Absolutely
not. Even
At least like a little.
I made that mistake once. I talked about something that I did for Warner Brothers, and they fired me. And I've done 9 voices. We don't want you to get 9, and I got cut. All of them got cut.
What? Just because you leaked?
Well, I talked to someone. I wrote a reply in a tweet that got picked up by a nerd who fucking followed. It was Harry Potter. It was the Harry Potter video game. I'd done 9 voices for it. And I was being described as their golden boy because they were loving the work I was doing. I was in. And someone wrote to me saying, hey, what video games have you done? Because I'm doing another project, I might want to use you. And I didn't think anything of it. It was a tweet reply. I was like, who's looking at my replies? And I was like, oh, this. The Harry Potter game that's coming up, blah, 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 blah. And a fan, like searching Harry Potter video game every single day, picked up on it, put it on a Reddit thread, blew up. And then Warner Brothers, basically, legal department were like, you're an idiot. And I was an idiot. I'm sorry, Warner Brothers. I still want to work with you.
That's crazy.
That hurts to hear. Yeah, I'll be honest.
So that's why I will not talk about these other projects. But believe me when I say I have 2 video games and 1 movie coming out this year that are huge. And
Like acting, like not voice lines, but like actually in a
I'm
movie?
not going to tell you a thing about it, dude,
Okay.
because I've learned my lesson. But I'm really, really excited. I'm really stoked, and they're going to be huge for me, you know. And I already had 3 AAAs come out this year, and you know, a bunch of TV shows. So I'm grateful. Like I say, the universe looks after you. I learned my lesson from what happened. I really did do work. Like people go off and go do work. I'm not a misogynist. I fucking love women. Like women are literally have shaped my life. You know, I grew up older sister, mother, auntie, a bunch of old Romanian aunts. Like everyone who, apart from my dad, all of my engagement was like women, you know, and has continued to be. Like most of my best friends in the industry, both in video games and entertainment, whether it's comedians, major execs at big video game studios, whatever, they're all female. I think it's important to mix with people who are not like you know, whether that's gender, race, religion, whatever, sexuality, you know. So I fuck with a lot of gay dudes as well, and they keep thinking I might come across the other side. Who knows? Maybe one day I will. You know, so all of that fan fiction you've written about Ghost and Soap could one day be a reality. I'll text up Neil Elise and see. Are you into that? Are you? Yeah.
Janaya, she's the one that reposts the edits, the thirst trap edits.
Really?
Have you seen those?
Like Ghost just.
He has to react to
that
one.
bundle,
He has to
that
react
big
to
old
one.
bundle.
Janaya, show us one.
You know what's hilarious is like there's a guy who makes money doing like for hire. I don't know how he gets. He has like Patreon's pledge, I guess, and he does an impression of me as Ghost, but it's sexual fan fiction, like audiobooks, like narrated, just kind of, you know.
That is wild.
No way.
Is this something? Is that what it is? It's like
no. It's just they're just ghost edits.
Ghost porno, yeah.
Which one?
So there is a lot of ghost porno.
Just scroll through it. Just scroll through them. I just want to see your reaction.
You can just scroll through them.
Oh wow! Hey, that's my favorite skin as well, the Reaper skin. That was my favorite one. That came out for the first Halloween event, which was the best first event for us
of all time.
You can scroll upwards. There's more.
Oh yeah. No, I'm just really into it. Give me a sec, guys. Let me just. Beautiful. Love it.
Yeah, people are crazy. I did want to say real quick. I wanted to admire you for sharing your story and kind of everything you went through. I know it's number one, not easy to bring up the dark side of kind of the past. And,
it is easy for me now, man. Transparency. I'm sober as well. I'm 6 years sober. So
Congrats.
I always, thank you, man. I always talked about my sobriety on my stream. I talked about mental health on my stream. I think too many people in Hollywood, I want to break this shit down. It means that I have there is a glass ceiling on how far I will succeed as an actor. I know that because the biggest studios don't want you to be transparent all the time. They don't want you to talk about your problems or your realities of life. They want you to be like, hey, everything's great and everything's amazing and buy the movie and buy the game and blah, 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 blah. And they're worried that if there's some part of you that's fallible, like you've struggled with addictions or you've struggled with mental health issues, that in some way like puts a little dark cloud over their pristine, glitzy, glamorous brand.
Yeah.
But I don't give a shit. Like, I've made my money now. I've done good investments. You don't make your money in entertainment as an entertainer. You make it where you invest it. So I'm good. I'm set for life. And I have never shied away from being transparent about it. I appreciate you saying you admire it, but it's not admirable. What's admirable is changing your situation. You know, that element of it. Not talking about it, like, and you changed it, ironically, from talking about it. I think the more open you're about it, the more you find out other people struggle with the same shit. And then you're more empowered to change your situation. But sorry, I cut you off. I'm British. Don't like being complimented.
I meant more like I had read at the time that they released you. I had heard of that. And it's crazy to me. I guess I'm learning something today. When you read a headline or something, you kind of just reach a final like decision in your brain on who that person is, right?
Sure.
What I said why I appreciate it is like you
thought I was a piece of shit
cleared
when I
it.
walked in here,
yeah, I'm glad you cleared it because it really makes a lot of sense and I see through your perspective and through your lens, right?
Right.
And it makes so much more sense now. It's
and you
one
get
of those
this industry,
things, right?
man. You're a streamer, right? You're an entertainer. You're on camera all the time. You know that what you're doing on stream is not necessarily always. I'm not saying you're not authentic. I'm sure you
I get what
both
you mean,
are. But
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you have to give energy. You can't be like, I'm feeling like shit today. You can't do that when you go on stream.
Yep.
So you get it. And in a bigger way, these big studios, these big entities, there's so much shit going on behind the scenes that no one knows. And that's what upset me about the whole thing that happened with me, is that after my lawyers sent cease and desist to a bunch of publications, most of which took it down, the biggest ones, IGN, Dexero, they got given all these facts, all this truth, and they didn't bother to write another story or to be like, actually, turns out this guy is a charity scammer. He was lying, and he finished working with Activision months before, so they didn't fire him. So that sort of black cloud or that black mark does kind of still exist a little bit. Fortunately, there's enough people who know me in the world of entertainment who like me and go, I know you're not a piece of shit, bro. You're still going to work. Don't worry. And I've managed to rebuild, you know?
For sure.
Beyond where I was, actually, which I'm very, very grateful for.
Amazing.
But yeah, there's a lot more going on. So that's why when I read stories, I'll give you a great example. You know, something that's going on now, the drama with Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, right? Now, if you haven't followed it, they did a movie, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni together, and it was very much, it was about sexual assault. That was a theme within it, or, you know, a very difficult subject to broach.
Yep.
Blake Lively made some claims that Justin Baldoni was sexually aggressive on set, or he was a little I don't know what the correct term is. I don't want to get sued, but allegedly he was not behaving correctly, right?
Yeah.
And he was effectively removed from all the promo of his own film that he put together. He wanted to tell this story for this female author of this original novel because he wanted to raise awareness about this. And also give himself a great role and a great story, I'm sure. You know, there's a business side to it. Anyway, he's now, after his career took such a hit and he was basically painted as a sexually abusive man in the industry, or a sexual predator, I should say. It comes out now that he's got counterclaims with the receipts to back it up. I don't know if you saw the website.
I did see
his
that,
lawyers with 325
They dropped the lawsuit,
pages.
didn't they? They dropped the lawsuit?
Oh, have they?
Yeah, that's what I read.
His lawyers?
No, Blake
of course they have.
Yeah, they dropped it.
Of course they have, because they would have lost. And I'm sure they're going to settle out of court. And I'm sure they'll still have a great career. But it came out like that Blake Lively allegedly may have created some of those stories and made that shit up. And he's not a bad guy. He's a great guy who's supported by a lot of women and supports a lot of women.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm glad. I sent him a message. He didn't reply. I don't expect him to. But I know it might be important for him if he read it to know, like, hey, man, I've experienced a similar thing of being painted a certain way that couldn't be further from the truth of who you are. And my honor is really important to me. My morals and my ethics are my most important thing. I say, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm not going to think about the roles I did the fucking TV shows I did or whatever. I'm going to think about was I a good man? Did I treat people right? And did they in turn love me for that? And did I have relationships of worth and love because of the way I behaved? And it sucks. So I sent him a message being like, bro, I feel you, man. I hope the truth comes out, you know, and you know, it sucks. The industry can chew you up and spit you out. But if you're resilient and realize it doesn't mean anything, we're all just fucking floating through the world, man. Yeah. Who knows, who cares about an actor 50 years ago? The reality is 2 years after you're dead, no one gives a shit about you anyway. So don't stress the big things or the small things. Just enjoy doing the best things. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
Great. All right, man. I love this pod. I wish we could keep talking. We're a bit over time.
I took a lot.
This was amazing.
I can already read the comments. Does this motherfucker ever shut up?
Nah.
Every podcast I do, that's what it is, right?
No, it was great. Thank you, bro.
Thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak about a lot of these things, you know. And I'm not going to lie. I was like, even this, I'm always wary, you know, going on a podcast, especially with streamers, you know. What's the angle? They're looking for a little drama or whatever. But
we're chill. I mean, we're not,
Not just chill. You're very professional and you've clearly done your research. And you also, I appreciate you caring about what I wanted to talk about, all facets of it. And that means a lot to me. So thank you guys.
100%. Yeah, you taught us a lot. I mean, I learned a lot just from sitting here, just talking about different things as far as like the industry, just a lot of things.
I learned how to destroy somene's career on Matcrackz. I can't wait to get on there.
Friday, 10 a.m. Post it. They can't respond for 72 hours. They're cooked,
bro. Well, you know, but listen, I know we can't go on. But I know you've navigated some ups and downs. You've had some things.
100%.
So
100%.
You get it, man. And I'm glad to see everyone thriving. You know?
For sure. There's a couple of YouTube channels that upload videos every other week saying I cheat every day. You know what I mean? So and
he doesn't cheat every day, just on Mondays and Thursdays.
Just Monday and Thursdays.
Come on, just to get that content, baby.
So awesome. Good. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
We have a quick tradition. At the end of every pod, I do a quick prayer. Is that fine with you?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Can I pray for people to like look me up on social media and like follow me? Because I've got a load of interesting projects coming up. I'd love your involvement. Yes, I'm serious. Like I'm touring stand up all over the country. I've got a special that I released for free. I did it for free so it could go out online. That's on YouTube. At Jeff Leach is everything.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I was gonna say it after, but you can say it now. Yeah,
just at Jeff Leach, man, because like you can find all my stuff on there. I got a stand up for you. I've got like a bunch of video games coming out. A bunch have already come out. I'm always dropping interesting stuff on there. I've got a movie I'm making right now.
That's awesome.
I'm co-creating a video game, a little pixel art JRPG that we will eventually do a Kickstarter for. So I'd love you guys. If you like me or you fuck with me, give me a follow.
Go follow Jeff. 100%. 100%.
Let's do a prayer.
Of course. Father God, thank you so much for this pod. Thank you for the life of Jeff. Thank you for allowing him to just share his story. Thank you, God, for everybody watching. I just pray for Jeff's career, for his future. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Holy shit, man. How can I fail now? I got the power of God on my side. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Before you go, can you please say in the ghost voice, subscribe to join the lobby?
Subscribe
Looking at
to
this
join
camera.
the lobby. Yeah, absolutely.
This camera right here, okay?
I can do better than that. Here we go. What's going on, soldiers? It's your commanding officer, Ghost here. Now listen, I know as operators for the Task Force 141, you've got plenty of things to get done in the AO. Clapping cheeks, of course, comes first. Taking out those bots, watching your brother's six. But there's something more important I need you to do today. And that's get yourself across to join the lobby, support it, subscribe. Make sure you step up to the plate. And who knows, maybe you'll be as frosty as me. Ghost out.
Oh,
there you go.
That has to be the outro every single time. Every single time.
Dude,
every single
so
time.
Thank you,
Appreciate
bro.
it, guys. Thank you, man.